Jurisdiction has been around for the past 3 years in the developmental stage. The funding we receive is primarily for developmental work and not service delivery. In the past, in my role as health director, I always had money in my program. Everybody used to call me, my colleagues, Auntie Mabel, when they wanted money from my program. And now, having just a program with developmental funding, I can't be called Auntie anymore. And since then, you heard Werner talk about all the work Mary T.G. Gray has done nationally and locally, provincially, in ensuring our children's requirements and needs are funded appropriately. So now we call, at CS West, we call Mary Auntie Mary, because she's the one with the money. Or Grandma Mary, because her pot is bigger than mine ever used to be. So we have Mary to thank for funding a lot of and subsidizing a lot of programs. So the developmental work that we're embarking on currently is the community engagement and engagement with leadership. We're quite far behind in that piece. The engagement with matriarchs and men is ongoing. However, the current thing we have to do is the engagement with leadership and community. As Werner mentioned, and in our president's report, we've been around for over 30 years. So a lot of the developmental work that is part of jurisdiction has already happened in many of our different programs, and some of which is still ongoing. One important part of jurisdiction is child safety, and Joan Conlon will touch a bit on that. Joan? So she'll be talking about the C6 expansion and how that relates to child safety. Another important piece of jurisdiction development is the community wellness teams. And after Joan completes her child safety brief report, I'd like to talk a bit further about the community wellness team.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Mabel. So this morning, I've been tasked with updating the communities on the work that we're doing in terms of child safety. Child safety is an integral part of the jurisdiction work that Carriacou County is embarking on. It's a really important piece of practice and of policy that we move forward to assert more decision-making, to support the nations in more decision-making when it comes to their children. So we've been working with the province, with MCFD, and collaborating with them. We meet regularly with the province because in November of 2023, we were given a new document that started helping delegated Aboriginal agencies, now called ICFSs, Indigenous Child and Family Services, throughout the province to help them move forward to expand decision-making. That's called C6 work. Often you'll hear us talk about C6 work. That's full authority to act under the CFCSA in terms of children. So we're moving forward on that. It's set out in 4 phases or stages, and we've completed the first stage with the full support of the Board of Directors. And now we have to go out and meet with the nations. As Mabel had talked about, community engagement's a really, really important piece of that work. So with Mabel's support and help, we're gonna go out to meet the nations to further this work, to move into the second phase of C6 expansion. So we're very excited about that. At the same time, we're doing behind the scenes work. I don't know if we have my slides ready to go, the child safety slides. Do I gotta, oh, look at that, Jordan. Jordan, you always have my back. Oh, I'm gonna move through the jurisdiction pieces. I'm just gonna go to mine. You're gonna come back to these. So one of the things is we're building capacity in our communities, and we're really wanting to engage. Oh, look at that. This is so fancy. We're starting to build capacity in our communities, and that's an important piece. I really appreciated what Chief Mueller had said in her opening comments about building capacity in community. It's such an important piece, especially when it comes to the work that we do in community. Many of our social workers are homegrown. We started the NVIT program, so we have social workers, those professional helpers who are being trained, and that's important for the child safety team to build a really robust child safety team. So we're focused on building stronger communities, working closely with community. I don't know who could read this because I need my glasses, but I can't see it at all. So we work closely with the communities. We've really worked closely with the matriarchs. We've had matriarchs' voices to really guide the work when it comes to furthering, to furthering the work of child safety. So I really want to extend and thank the matriarchs in the room that have participated. I've seen, of course, Nancy, Millie, I'm seeing folks in the room, Peggy, who have helped this work, and it's important because really it's the wisdom of our matriarchs that help guide this work, so Masai. And I think the other piece is that practicing differently. Where it's like, put on your glasses. That practicing differently. When we say that we're gonna practice differently, Mary talks about this all the time, that child safety or child welfare, if you will, we've been tasked under the CHRT orders to transform child welfare, and so that's a really important part of the work. How are we going to practice differently as child safety workers? How are we going to collaborate with the community? How are we gonna show up and build trust? And that's another very focused, huge piece of the work. I think the other huge piece of the work is really building existing services. Mary always and Warner always say, this is by design where we're at today. And that is, you know, Mary's gonna talk about her prevention services and how robust those are. Those are important when it comes to child safety because that's gonna be our first response, is front-loading prevention services when there is a worry for a family. So those are just some of the key pieces and the foundations and the principles that guide our work in the Child Safety Department. We have expanded. We've got a new family guidance supervisor on the team. We have a new social work assistant on the team, and now we are moving to onboarding the child safety or the family guidance support workers. So we're excited to move on to that next phase. In conjunction with that, we're also supporting the designated representatives in community. And so every quarter, we all get together, all of the nations designated reps and their alternates, and we get to spend time learning a lot of technical work. We have the robust, really, really strong curriculum that Stephanie Comfall helps facilitate. She is also has worked with Indigenous Perspective Society. She teaches this course, and so she's helping us become facilitators. And it's really rooted in current legislation, the federal act, and then also transforming child safety. So we're very excited about that work. We're actually on Monday morning hitting the ground running, and we're having our 3-day designated representative training, and we're excited to have them. And this year we've got confirmation from all of the nations that somebody will be representing.
Monthly briefing.
Oh, yeah, and in doing so, we also get together once a month and we just do a touch base with the designated reps. Often, well, the feedback we heard from the designated reps is often they're the front line workers, and it can seem isolating, and it can seem, and so we were able to help support building a network of helpers in the community, and so that was exciting work. And we've really got to know the designated reps, and building those relationships, so it's been exciting. My report is on page 53, so you can see that. And then also the last piece that I wanted to just quickly update is we've worked with, we went to Vancouver in the last month, and we worked with Vancouver Aboriginal Child and Family Services there, and we were able to start our field guides for C6 work, so to complete that work. So it was very exciting. We actually worked very closely with their intake and screening team. We were watching how they do the work, and also bringing that knowledge home, but also seeing it from our lens, or the Kirisikani lens that's been guided by our matriarchs. So that was exciting. We also got to see how many of your community members do live in those urban areas, and how tightly knit our community supports each other in urban areas. So we got to visit with community members down there. So, so we're going to continue that work. And then we're moving on to, like I said, the second phase of negotiations with the province. That's funding, that is also ensuring that we're upholding standards. So we're working with the AOPSI, which is our standards, our Indigenous standards, to make sure that we're embedding that. And then Mary and the operational readiness team, we're going to be working on building our policy and practice framework. So there's lots of work to be done, but there's lots of work that has been done already, and we're excited for the next phase and to move on. I think that's about it, Mabel. Thank you, Uwitse Masai. Do you want me to move it back to yours?
No, that's good. Thanks, Joan. And the final piece that's pivotal to jurisdictions for communities to be able to keep your own children safe. I can't remember when it was that Mary Teege's team began working with communities to form community wellness teams. I think it was about 3-4 years ago. And she's had a number of different staff lead the community wellness teams, and the last one that did an amazing job, I think, is Sophia, who went to all the communities and tried to prepare the community wellness teams to do the work of keeping the children safe and providing recommendations to chief and council, to their band designates as to what will happen to children that the ministry may have worries about. Sophia left to another job within the organization, and most recently we had a posting out for the community wellness coordinator, and I'm happy to announce that Colette Plasway, sitting here, she's currently with the jurisdiction team, will be moving over as the community wellness lead on Monday morning. Hitting the ground with training. As Joan mentioned, there's band designated training on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Colette will probably hit the ground running with training, because what I'd like her community wellness team members is to be able to take the same training as the band designated workers training, and hopefully have their monthly debrief if the communities choose so. And I think Stephanie and Joan already set aside the community wellness training dates for November and February. So for those dates, we'll probably extend invitation to 2 members per community for the wellness training. I know it's short notice, however, we're a bit behind in that program, and we'd like to catch up. And I likely will go out with Colette on many of her meetings with community. The other exciting thing that we were working on is developing a video of the SICA's Child Welfare Committee. The SICA's Child Welfare Committee started in 1977. And the elders and the community had a vision of how that Child Welfare Committee would work. And then they hired myself in 1978 to implement their vision, which I did. Worked very close with the SICA's community, with that community, and we hope to meet with the founding members that are still alive, possibly next month or in December to begin working on the video that will be used as a teaching tool for all communities or anybody who would like to use it as a teaching tool for themselves. And that concludes our report. As I said, it's on page 51, and Jones is on page 53. So thank you.
So thank you, Mabel and team. Couple minutes here for anybody online. Is there any questions or comments that the team should know about?
Hi there, in the back. Hi, David. I'm waving.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hello. I'm Andrea. I'll be articulating some of the questions we have online. I just want to say real quick, we have people from member nations joining us from across the province, actually, in the Lower Mainland, and SICUS, and LBN, and TACLA. So thank you all for joining us online. We do have a question. Somebody has asked, where can members sign up for or obtain child safety training? Maybe that's for Joni.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it sort of goes in line with that community engagement and updating the community. And I know that our former director of jurisdiction, Stephanie Comfall, can't remember what her new title is, but she always says, always bring the community with us in that training, in that ability to inform the nations, inform them of their rights, inform them of the process, the current process, and then the transitional process of child safety, and then the future state. So I think that's an important question, and I think Mary's team, particularly the prevention team, they have, and Sonia's team, they have like duty to report training. They have additional training. I think the designated rep training, we could revamp that. So I think it's part of that engagement process. So if you want to leave your name and your interest, then we can start compiling a list of names, and then we can be doing a workshop. We could be doing that piece, because that's exactly what we want to hear from community. What do you need to know? What is helpful? What will inform you of your current rights? And how do you navigate processes, particularly if you do have child welfare involvement? So that's an important question. Thank you, Masai.
Thank you, and if anybody online wants to submit their name, we'll make sure it goes to Joni or the correct program. We do have another question. This person is asking, can anyone join in a wellness program for next year in February? Or anytime next year?
Is that in reference to the community wellness teams?
It is.
Is that what I'm thinking? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's also important, that if you're one of those helpers in community, or you want to learn more about the process, we'll start compiling names as well, and then get back to you.
Another question just came in. Is there a DEC Health toll-free line that members can call in case urban citizens can call without direct loss of custody of child? This person also thanks Mabel for her dedication in honoring child safety.
Yeah, currently there isn't one specific that is in currently in DECAL language, but I think that's also something that needs to be looked at. There have been other helping agencies that do have that, and so that's something to explore. And then I think it's important that when you have community members in urban, particularly in Vancouver, we do have a Vancouver office. Connect with any of us and we'll be able to help direct you, particularly if it's in Vancouver. If it's in other urban regions, it's important that you do, that's where your designated reps and Carriers County can work collaboratively to help those community members. That's also important. So I think it's about sharing contact information and where we can help you find the right answer, particularly if they're in another region.
Thank you, Joni, and I'll just add for those members online that are joining us from the Lower Mainland, you can find contact information for all our offices on the website at csfs.org.
Thanks for the great questions, Masai.
So we have on the floor, recognize a speaker there.
Hi, I'm Valerie Trzanski, Tom, and this is in regards to my great-grandchildren. They were taken by MCFD, and the parents, Jordan and Kimberly, who are making awareness, have been walking from Prince Rupert and are going on to Victoria. They have been denied many visits along with myself. I have been denied phone calls, and so have they. And it's just slowly but surely, under supervision to my great-grandchildren, that I was allowed to visit. And the parents, Kimberly and Jordan, that are doing the walk, making awareness for all children in care that were taken by MCFD. The children have no voice. And whatever has been mentioned to twist words from a child, MCFD is doing. It has been mentioned that my grandson has issues, and then again, who doesn't? But the thing is that he is denied visits with a few of his stepsons, and the parents cannot visit the children together. Thank you. And, oh, P.S., they have a Facebook page, Walking for All Children, in Kimberly and Jordan Joseph of Yakuche. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Sensing that this needs an offline conversation rather than that conversation being shared on the floor because it's confidential in nature. So I'm going to ask that Joni and Mabel and Colette have an offline conversation with you to discuss this more privately. And anybody else from the floor here there, Lydia? I can't see anybody. No? Okay. Anybody else online with any comments to the report? If not, looks like Warner's coming up here to say more stuff. So Warner.
More stuff. The important stuff. Just to summarize Mabel's report around jurisdiction, it is an opportunity for CSFS and member nations to really draw down our own laws, but also develop our own structures in terms of child apprehensions. Because when we move forward, we are going to be challenged with those children that will need care and protection. And we need to design a proper system so that the children do not fall through the cracks and that they're reunited with those that could nurture and ensure their safety. So as such, I forgot to mention in my report this morning that the jurisdiction has been reset. We will be going into communities to have information session on what jurisdiction looks like, review some of our recommendations for structures and systems, and the authority that we would be assuming. So the collective skills with that would be Mabel, Mike, Marlena, myself, Julie, Travis, and Mary. We will be really leading the team, and with the team would consist of 5 working groups. One would look at the justice framework. So, for example, if there's a child that's in danger or needs to be removed, we will have structures in place where Julie Dom's team, the family collaborative practice workers, would come in, meet with all family members that are interested, and help in developing a plan of care for that child. It would also include information technology. What kind of technology do we need in-house and in community so that the communication for this work is top-notch? Marlena has already started reviewing the IT systems, and we're ahead of the game in terms of getting ready. In terms of information management, we still need to do a little bit of work there. And information management is what type of records will we keep? And of course, keeping records, you'd have to ensure that because it's personal information, it's kept confidential. And that's just basic law in BC and Canada. Financial planning, we did hire a financial analyst that would help us look at the cost associated with running the organization, but also looking at the cost for community capacity and community systems development. Organizational readiness, what type of, how do we assist the capacity building in community so that the communities are ready, as well as CSFS, so that we can synergize and work together rather than against each other. Again, communications and engagement is really important. I've learned that once you communicate, communicate, and communicate, so that people get the message loud and clear, and that there's no misunderstandings in moving forward. So that's the plan for jurisdiction. What we hope to do, and Chief Robert is the co-chair of the jurisdiction team. We do have a Chiefs Oversight Committee that monitors the work, and the committee is open to all chiefs that are interested in our pathway moving forward on jurisdiction. We do report to chiefs usually on a quarterly basis to give them updates not only on jurisdiction, but child and family and health services as well. So I just forgot to mention that detail as a cursory to Mabel's report. Thank you.